Could we be seeing the next Brady and Gronkowski duo in New England?
One of the performances of the season from a player, that for me.
It's just everything I love about football.
They're now top of the NFC North. Yikes.
Give him the MVP because he's the only player on that team who should be in a jersey.
Welcome back to the Early Hours podcast. It was a Buffalo Bills bonanza this week with Josh Allen deciding to bully the Buccaneers. Look, we'll get onto that game momentarily. But before that, Thursday Night Football, the Patriots 27, Jets 14. Drake May's MVP aura here seems to be rubbing off on the rest of his teammates, especially Trayvon Henderson. He had a breakout game.
Yeah, 3 TDs on the night, 2 rushing and 1 receiving, so he really can do it all. And I think it all starts with Drake May, if you ask me. He's really elevating the team. You know, they don't expect that kind of a performance from a rookie in Trayvon Henderson, but Drake May's, he's elevating all these players. He's even elevating the veterans. Stephon Diggs, 9 receptions for 105 yards. So, yeah, just a really, really solid performance across the board. Really put the pressure on the Jets as well, controlled the line of scrimmage, didn't allow the Jets to set any real tempo, a bit of a mixed bag from Justin Fields. And yeah, just capping it all off and going back to Trayvon Henderson. He joins Gronk as the only New England rookies to have 3 TD games. So it's just been an unreal night for him and for the Patriots as a whole.
It's crazy because he was on many people's waiver wire literally the week before. So you mentioned Gronk. Could we be seeing the next Brady and Gronkowski duo in New England? We might. I mean, it's a long shot. Get some rings first, boys, but it's not out of the possibility. Moving on to the Sunday slate then. Look, I got the memo. Matthew Smells, you got the memo here. We're celebrating Josh Allen here, potentially being the best QB in the league. Tampa did put up a good fight, but not many people have the answers for when people throw for over 300 yards.
Yeah, Josh, I've got him as my quarterback in our fantasy league. Josh Allen threw 2 interceptions, which, let's be fair, we don't often see. Did he then throw 3 touchdowns? And did he rush 3 touchdowns? I mean, yeah, he can do it all, can't he? Obviously, a bit of a shaky start for Josh, and if we're honest, he wasn't perfect, especially in the first half, but he really made the difference when the Bills' defence gave, a very, very good Baker Mayfield. They gave him a couple of issues, and Josh Allen and the team really kind of showed why they are one of the best teams in the division. James Cook was very quiet. In fact, I thought they were all quiet. It was genuinely the Josh Allen show, and I think obviously the 2 interceptions are a big issue, but it's one of the performances of the season from a player, that for me.
Yeah, and the Buccaneers actually kept the pace early. They were able to establish, a bit of momentum. They were moving the chains well. Baker Mayfield was hitting explosive plays, which we've become used to seeing from Baker Mayfield. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Peak Allen just flipped a switch on the second half. You mentioned the 2 touchdowns, 2 fourth quarter TDs, which just put the game away. And he actually ties Cam Newton's QB rushing touchdown record, which is insane. So
have you got the NFL record book today? What's going on?
Just the AFC East, mate, apparently. But yeah, it's he's a stud, isn't he? One of the best. Just reminds you that we're the same with Lamar. We forget sometimes, and then they go, "Excuse me, I'm still here." So yeah.
That's the league's MVP right there. Still reigning MVP, showing you what he can do. A question for the Bucs, though. They are 6-4 after that game. Do you think they've still got playoff potential? We've got to see Bucky Irving back.
The question for me just really rests on how far are the Carolina Panthers going to push them? Surprised everyone, really, picking up so many wins here and there. And like you mentioned, Goody, players still to come back. I do think that Bucky Irving injury is putting into question how serious they can be for a playoff run. If he returns and he's at full health, I think it's a completely different story. We saw that dominant first sort of quarter of the season from the Buccaneers. So it's still all to play for in that division and across the conference.
If we can see some version of a fit Mike Evans and who knows a Godwin as well by the end of the season, then they'll be firing. Fair play to Sean Tucker. The Bucs are doing next man up, and he was their top rusher, 106 yards off 19 carries. Obviously, we all thought Rashad White would get the nod with Bucky out, but it hasn't really been that. And to be fair to Baker, he's really spread the ball to his receivers as well. Not overly reliant on Egbuka at the moment, which in theory is a good thing. I think I'd like to see him a little bit more involved at the minute. But again, teams are then picking up that he is the danger man, covering him, but they're finding other players. And whilst they're 6-4 and still, leading the NFC South, it's tough for them at the minute because the Panthers look better, but yeah, they're still the favourites to make the playoffs. It's just how far can they go? They need to get players back.
Bucky, I know you're watching. Please get better for next week when you go to SoFi Stadium. It's a game that we're all interested in on the Early Hours podcast because we'll be there. So we'd love to see you running some routes on that turf and to make that game a little bit more competitive. We also had a game in Madrid this weekend. The Dolphins beat the Commanders 16-13. Is this Washington side washed?
I watched the game. It was a scrappy game. Both QBs giving it their best shot at trying to get the other offense back on the field. It was just a mess, really. Devon Achane having a frustrating day, especially as his fantasy owner. Washington probably cooked for this year, and it's just a case of making sure they keep Dan Quinn. No disruption there. He's picked up the defensive side of the play calling as well, which is good. So they just use the rest of the year to just reset and get back to basics.
Yeah, no interceptions for Tua, though. That's quite a rarity for his record. 3 sacks, 171 passing yards for him. How about that stadium, though? 78,500 people in attendance at the Bernabeu. Is this paving the way for a new standard when it comes to NFL stadiums?
It's possible, isn't it? I mean, there was debate on Sky. Dominican Sue, he was, kind of holding the NFL and Roger to ransom a bit. He was saying, look, well, why can, these stadiums that have only just adopted the sport be so much more efficient in the way they maintain the quality of the pitch, the way that they, accommodate players into the locker rooms, etc. There was all sorts of things in question, really. But I think it's more for me a question of some of the franchises have just got outdated stadiums that probably need a lot of renovation, and actually places like they're isolated, aren't they? So you're playing in places like the Bernabeu, which is the top team in Spain. You're playing at somewhere like Tottenham, which is a top team in the Premier League on the day. Chris will probably hate me for saying that if you're listening. It's tit for tat at the minute, and it's a learning curve for everyone while we expand the international game.
You mentioned, some stadiums being more or less out of date. There's a certain charm to that. I think the Packers actually came under fire this week as well because they've got one of the oldest visiting locker rooms in the league, and it's basically falling apart now. I know that you don't want to make your visitors comfortable, but that is funny. But speaking of the Packers, we did beat the Giants 27-20. It was a bounce back win for us. Jameis Winston here proving why he should probably be QB1.
James played really well. He put the Giants in a position to win for the majority of the game. The Packers obviously came through in the second half and pulled ahead, and he got that interception on his record, but not his fault, to be fair. So yeah, he was as good as they could have hoped. Obviously, we know that Jackson Dart will come back and take that spot, but they put a lot of trust in Winston today to kind of play him ahead of Russ Wilson, who they're paying obviously all that money. So I think everyone, whatever team you support, everyone's a Jameis Winston fan. So really pleased for him to get out there, have a bit of fun. And it's a shame, not for you guys, but just generally if it wasn't against the Packers, it's a shame that everyone loves to see Jameis win and his reaction, but yeah, good game for him. And Tyrone Tracy as well picked up the slack from Scatterboo, with Devon Singletary also with 2 touchdowns. So the Giants had their upsides yesterday, couldn't quite get it over the line. I think that's just a little bit of quality they're missing with injuries as well, but yeah, they looked decent and really pleased for Winston.
Oliver, you said to me before the game, I'd hate to see Jordan Love go down on that MetLife turf, especially because we're due to see him in Detroit on Thanksgiving. And he did just that.
He did. He got to his second or third read, nothing there, nothing doing. Watson sort of on a cutback route, and he just bolted. He just bolted. He went for it, and ultimately took a big hit to the I believe it was his left shoulder, and then before you know it, he's running into the tunnel, and panic stations galore. At the same time, MetLife struck again, and we had running back Josh Jacobs go to ground, which was not to the delight of our fantasy league and one particular manager, but also just for the Packers season, right? I mean, that we're such a run-heavy team, and the way we operate our scheme, he's the worst person that could go down. I did also just want to touch on the performance in general from the Packers. Mixed bag on the day. The run game, albeit without Jacobs, was probably made to look prettier than it was. The Giants actually kind of putting a shine on that, not a particularly good run defense. And aside from that, tough day at the office again, I think it's fair to say. Conceded on that opening drive. Yeah, it was a mixed day, but a win's a win, and we needed that momentum.
A win is a win for sure. We touched upon it briefly. The Panthers beat the Falcons 30-27. The Vikings losing to the Bears 17-19. The Bears, they're now top of the NFC North. Yikes. And then the Cardinals, they lost to the 49ers 22-41. Brock Purdy back under center, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Brock was really good. There's been a lot of questions asked about him and Mac Jones the last couple of weeks, but yeah, I don't think there's a massive coincidence that it's our highest point scoring game of the season. The Cardinals aren't a good team. They have a lot of injuries, unfortunately, as well. But yeah, Brock looked good. Maybe not quite as mobile in the pocket as we'd like, but probably to be expected. But yeah, George Kittle with a huge game. CMC with a huge game. But yeah, what I would like to say, Jacoby Brissett, 47 passing completions this week, which is an NFL record. He threw for 452 yards. So credit where it's due. He was really good, and we couldn't get anywhere close to him. No sacks from us. Obviously, we picked him off twice, which is good. But yeah, the defense for the 49ers is still not good enough, especially against a backup QB and a team without their top 2 starting receivers. So yeah, Jacoby Brissett, really, really good for him. He doesn't throw many picks. He's pretty accurate, and he played really well.
Crazy amount of yardage for only putting up 22 points.
Yeah,
it is.
100%.
I think it speaks volumes about his pursuit for longevity in the league and actually going, being in tough situations throughout his career and getting himself back into a starting position. It's not an easy task to go up against a franchise quarterback like Kyler Murray, albeit with injuries, but he sees those opportunities, and you don't just get 47 completions in one game. You have to, that's taken some effort. So fair play to him. Credit where credit's due.
And then we had the Broncos 22, Chiefs 19. Travis Kelce putting up 91 yards and getting a touchdown. Were the Broncos just lucky?
Well, for all the predictions we've made, first and foremost, mate, congratulations. You pipped me and Smales to that one, so you were firm on the Broncos.
I'm a massive Bo Nix believer. I really am.
100%, man. Me too. I'm Bo all the way, my guy. And RJ Harvey, he was picked firmly up off the waivers when I had the chance. So no, I just think at this point, say what you want about the Broncos, they're getting the job done, and it's no easy task to bowl over the Chiefs. And Mahomes was solid. He wasn't explosive. He wasn't necessarily the best we've ever seen him. Kelce was moving the chains. All in all, I think Denver just did a very good job. Very complimentary football. They were scoring, getting the defense back on. The defense was giving them every opportunity they could. Yeah, it just seemed to work. And if they keep doing it, there's nothing stopping them doing this against teams in the playoff run. It's all you need. You just need to be successful in all 3 phases.
Absolutely. The one thing I want to pick up on is just on the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes was half decent, couldn't get Rashee Rice going. Obviously, Kelce was good. The problem they've got is Kareem Hunt, he had 13 rush attempts, that's it. So if you're the Broncos, you can just, get everyone back into coverage and just counter Mahomes. I mean, Mahomes didn't even scramble and try and rush himself that much yesterday, really. It's a very, very one-dimensional offense at the minute. And we know Pacheco's out, but even with him, I just think, the offensive play calling has been a little bit off this year, which is, not something we'd often say about the Chiefs. And it makes them a little bit easier to play against for, opposition with a very good defense, such as the Broncos.
Absolutely. And look, it all starts with their linebackers, Greenlaw, unbelievable. And then you drop even further in the safety and the DBs, Satan and Hufanga. So it's just unstoppable against a team that wants to run the ball. And it works. It's efficient.
And then we had the Browns-Ravens 16-23 in this game. Derrick Henry having his one good game of the month, 1 rushing touchdown and over 100 yards.
Derek was good, but I think, unfortunately, that's about as much of the props you can give to the Ravens. They scored 13 points in the fourth quarter to win it. The Browns looked poised to win the game the whole way through. But, yeah, I don't think anyone apart from Henry comes away with too much sort of credit, especially on offense. We'll come on to the Browns in a minute. But the Ravens, terrible. Lamar Jackson, dreadful. 14 completions, 2 interceptions. And you go over to the Browns, Dylan Gabriel's been getting a lot of stick. He went out, and the cheers for Shedeur Sanders were amazing. But guess what? He's garbage. He makes Dylan Gabriel look like Tom Brady. He was terrible. It was all terrible. However, I'll say it one more time. Myles Garrett, 4 sacks. I mean, look, why not just throw the script away, give him the MVP, because he's the only player on that team who should be in a jersey and not, running the bins.
Yeah, 2 standouts for me. I can't top that, though. That's an absolute... Bloody hell. I mean, where do we go from there? Devin Bush with the pick 6, unbelievable for the Browns, and not to be understated when Lamar Jackson's the one throwing the ball. And then, of course, Mark Andrews finally breaking the record that we teed up last week. He's now the all-time pass catcher for the Ravens. So unbelievable for him. And yeah, what a stat.
It was such a cool play as well. His touchdown, where he got that it's his first ever rushing touchdown. Took it from shotgun and just ran round the edge. It was so funny. I've never seen his little legs run as fast as he can, and yeah, that was a good bit of fun, to be fair. I'll give him that one.
That's got to be a confidence builder as well, especially with what happened in the playoff last season, with him basically costing them from advancing. So yeah, good to see that from Mark Andrews. And then to round out the Sunday slate, we had two massive games in the NFC. Starting off here, the Rams beating the Seahawks 21-19. The Rams now going 8-2. They're poised for a top spot in the NFC.
We're coming into a real time to see the Rams, and obviously we teed it up on our socials and last week's episode, but the Bucs as well. What an exciting game that's going to be. You've got such an explosive offense in the Rams, and Nakua was there again. Tay Adams there again. I loved at the goal line Stafford essentially just sending his tight end in motion to free up a classic Stafford no-look over the top, just a little dink to Tay, and it's just everything I love about football, that offensive side of the ball. And yeah, the Seattle Seahawks on the other side, it just came down to Darnold throwing picks at the end of the day. You just 4 interceptions. You're not going to win football games when you're throwing 4 interceptions. And JSN, one-handed catches, it had everything. It just didn't materialise for the Seahawks, and it'll be interesting to see them play again later in the year.
To say that Sam Darnold threw 4 picks and the Seahawks were still in possession to win it, I mean, the Rams punted 6 times. Their time of possession were 22 minutes compared to the Seahawks 37. 99% of the time you have the team with 37 minutes winning, but Stafford really struggled. The whole offense struggled for the Rams, which you don't see very often. But these are the only 2 teams with a top 5 offense and defense, and I think we saw that especially with the Seahawks defense. But yeah, both the defenses, they just couldn't get rolling, could they? But yeah, the Rams ground it out, and fair play to them.
You can see it by the scoreline though, like it's a 1-score game. It's really tight. At least it wasn't a blowout, so you can tell that both of these teams mean business this season. And then yeah, the last game to round out the Sunday was the Eagles-Lions 16-9. The Eagles coming away with the win and also going 8-2. It's a major loss for the Lions. They slipped to 3rd now in the NFC North.
All I can say is let's hope we don't get an Eagles-Broncos Super Bowl, because my God, will it be dull if we do. Honestly, exactly the same style of play at the minute. The defense is just carrying them through a number of games, and it really is the worst offense in football at the moment. It's a watch. It's so boring. I mean, granted, I'm gonna eat my hat on that. We've got teams like the Raiders, we've got Tennessee, but at least they're using play action. At least they're looking for deep threats. At least they're sending running backs into the receiving game. Barkley, it's just inside zone or tush pushers over and over and over. If I was AJ Brown, I'd be frustrated at this point. I really would.
It gets results. They just beat the Lions.
I know, exactly, and that's the hard thing to argue. They're grinding out these slugfest wins, and yeah, credit where credit's due. The defensive side of the ball, DeJean with the pick, forcing errors, putting Goff under pressure, and taking a massive step forward in the NFC number 1 seed hunt. So it's still all to play for. Just crucially as well for us, selfishly, I've spoken like a true Packer. Really great to see the Lions pick up a loss as well. We needed that, especially with the run of form that the Bears appear to be on. So yeah, just a good night for the Packers in that sense.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? The Lions now actually out of the playoff hunt as it stands after week 11, which is pretty crazy. But just want to say, 28 completed passes between both teams, 14 apiece. So yeah, like you say, the defense just dominated and really didn't live up to kind of the expectations. But like I said on Thursday's episode, somehow the Eagles, they just win at home. That's what they do. They just find a way to win, and it's not pretty, it's not entertaining, and yeah, anyone that's not an Eagles fan must just hate it.
Here we go, right? Book it. Championship game, Eagles-Rams rematch from earlier in the season. Rams take it this time, and it's an absolutely dominant performance. There's nothing they can do. They can't keep bringing this slugfest football. Take all the way to the bowl from there on.
Takes a lot for a Niners fan to say, yeah, I hope so. I hope the Rams win that one.
I like it. I like it a lot. I think we just need someone like the Browns or something with Myles Garrett who can just eat an offense like that. Just stick them all on the same team, line them up, trade Parsons wherever. Just get them, just assemble all the Avengers on this one team. That's the only way you'll stop the tush push this season. Otherwise, you got to wait for it to be banned. But no, it's good to see the Lions lose as a Packers fan. And obviously we held the Eagles to 10 points, and the Eagles put 16 past them. So that is also, if you read into it, it that much. It's nice to see the Packers maybe getting the edge between the two ties there. To round out week 11 then, we've got the Cowboys at the Raiders. Both sides here, they've got losing records, but I can't see it going any other way than a Cowboys win.
Yeah, the Cowboys will win this by a clear distance.
Would you say by a country mile?
A country mile. Now, look, very good. Very, very good. Yeah, the Cowboys, absolutely god-awful defence, but they're playing a team with the 31st worst offence in the league in the Raiders, and the Cowboys are the third highest. So, obviously, they're coming off the bye week as well, and, you know, I love a team off a bye. So, yeah, it's going to be Cowboys by a bit of a landslide.
One area to watch on the field tonight is defensive tackle, their new recruit, Quinion Williams as well. He's had a week now in the bye to really integrate in the team, get up to speed with the playbook, the scheme, and so on. And I think we could see him run riot alongside Kenny Clark versus Ashton and Geno, and prepare for sack city on Geno Smith, I'm telling you now. And I think this will be a convincing win from the Cowboys, puts them back on track, leaves them 4-5-1. Unfortunately, the Raiders are going to slide to a 4-game losing streak.
It's the Cowboys for me as well. I think that's a pretty convincing win. But don't rule out Trey Tucker. It's a touchdown for him tonight.
I saw you got him off the waivers again, didn't you?
Well, I had to drop him. I dropped him to free up some space, and then Garrett Wilson went on to IR, so I was like, oh, God, no, you can come back. Come back on the bus, I'm sorry. Don't unpack those bags just yet. That's all we've got time for on today's episode. Boys, we are 4 sleeps away from jetting off to the States for our NFL Thanksgiving tour. That is going to be mind-blowing. If you missed that announcement, feel free to go and check back on the last episode, and we will reveal more on Thursday before we go, so we'll see you then.